The Eagles against the New Orleans Saints.
Live from the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, the NFL on CBS presents the Philadelphia Eagles against the New Orleans Saints. Let's take a check of the standings. We see the Eagles at 1-3. If they're going to make a move, they better do it quickly in the NFC East. And over in the West, the New Orleans Saints have already begun as they've won 2 games in a row. Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Deerdorf, and along with my partner, Gene Fugit, we'll bring you this afternoon's ball game. Gene, 2 very, very aggressive defenses. They will pressure each other's offensive teams.
Well, the pressure is going to be especially on the Eagle offense today, Dan, because that offense is being led by rookie quarterback Randall Cunningham. Last week, the Saints defense did a number on Joe Montana, sacking him 6 times, and they believe they can do it again today against the Eagles.
Well, the New Orleans Saints have won the toss, and they will receive. Kicking off for Philadelphia will be their fine young place kicker, Paul McFadden, and the deep men for New Orleans, Eric Martin and Willie Tullis. As usual, perfect weather conditions here in the Dome. About 70 degrees. McFadden toes it up, and this game is underway. Eric Martin at his own 10. Gets beyond the 20 up to about the 23-yard line where Aaron Brown makes the hit for Philadelphia. There's some question for the New Orleans Saints as to the health of some of their people, notably fullback Pokey Guy-Jean, who injured a hamstring in their game last week. Wayne Wilson will start in the backfield for New Orleans, and they go to a 2 tight end offense with John Tice as the extra tight end. On first down, Wilson throws. I think it's safe to say that he threw that away in trying to find Eric Martin.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say, Dan.
Dave Wilson, the 4th-year quarterback from the University of Illinois.
Both teams expect to pass a lot today, and I guess that's the trend in the league, so the Saints and the Eagles shouldn't be any different from the rest of the teams.
Second down, 10 yards to go. Wilson sets his offense and drops the throw. He's got time, goes downfield. He's got a receiver. Did he have control of the ball? No, he did not. Went for number 88, Eugene Goodlow.
Eugene Goodlow, usually a very sure-handed receiver, had a difficult time bringing it in, and I think one reason he had such a difficult time was because of the Eagle defense. You know, that pass defense in the secondary, they are known for hitting. Number 48, Wes Hopkins, was there on that play, and he helped break it up.
Wes Hopkins with the good coverage on Eugene Goodlow. The throw from Wilson was right there, but an incompletion brings up 3rd and 10. 3 wide receivers in the Saint lineup, and Wilson to throw. Flares it out to Wilson. He tries to put on a move, but absolutely nothing going. Andre Waters came up with the coverage, and it's a punting situation for the Saints.
Well, the Eagle defense, especially on passing situations, they love to keep that play in front of them. That time they dropped deep, didn't give Wilson anything deep, and all he had was that flare to Wayne Wilson, who had a great game last week running the ball against the 49ers.
That he did, over 100 yards. The NFC's best punter last year, Brian Hansen, will kick for New Orleans. Evan Cooper, the lone deep man for the Eagles. Hansen, a rifle shot. Drives Evans back. Good special teams coverage that time. Cooper didn't have much going, only picked up 7 after a 50-yard kick. Gary Cobb, the newcomer from Detroit, made the hit. Here's the Eagles offensively. They'll start with rookie Randall Cunningham at quarterback. Ernest Jackson in the 1-back offense. Mike Quick, Kenny Jackson, the wideouts, and Michael Haddix will be their movement tight end. The offensive line, Reeves, Kenny, Dennard, Baker, and Mitchell, and the very talented John Spagnola at tight end. Randall Cunningham hands off to Ernest Jackson, who goes over the left side for some positive yardage. Defensively for New Orleans, they go with the 3-man line. Bruce Clark, Tony Elliott, and Jim Wilkes get the call up front. And this is an aggressive linebacking core. Ricky Jackson, Glenn Redd, Scott Pallure, and Whitney Paul, they fly to the football. And in the secondary, on the corners, Waymer and Poe, and Terry Hogue and Frank Waddle form the safety combination. Let's make it 2nd down, 7 yards to go. Again, Jackson, he fumbles. He fumbles, and the Saints have the recovery. New Orleans comes up with the football. Terry Hogue, the safety. The game's first break, and New Orleans gets the ball in Eagle territory.
Well, last week, New Orleans took 3 turnovers away from the 49ers and turned all 3 turnovers into points. Here you have a handoff from Cunningham, and Jackson has both hands on the ball. But look at number 75, Big Clark, Bruce Clark, the All-American from Penn State, now trying to be an All-Pro for the Saints, makes the big play like he does so many times for the Saints.
This brings up a 1st and 10 at the 43-yard line. Wilson hands off to Wayne Wilson. And he gets to the 40-yard line. Let's take a look at New Orleans offensively now that they've decided who's going to play and who's not. Dave Wilson starts at quarterback with Wayne Wilson, the setback. Wide receivers, Eric Martin, Eugene Goodlow, and John Tice, Hobie Brenner. LaFari, Perot, Hilgenberg, Williams, and Brock form the offensive line.
When Wilson's in the backfield, look for the Saints to pass.
2nd down, 7 yards to go. Wilson with a short drop, and he's going to run. He hook slides in, and you saw the flag go flying. The umpire threw the flag, and more times than not, that's holding on the offense. And that is the call. So New Orleans, with the game's first break, getting the Ernest Jackson fumble, now commits the game's first penalty as they'll get marched back. Gordon McCarter.
Holding, number 61, offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
Joel Hilgenberg, the center for the Saints, got caught with the arms out. 3-man line again for Philadelphia. Reggie White, Ken Clark, and Greg Brown. White last week with 3 sacks. Wilkes, Reichenbach, Griggs, and Cobb. The linebacking core. Foul starting today for the injured Roynell Young. Herman Edwards at the other corner. And it's Ellis and Hopkins at the safeties. 2nd down, 17 yards to go. Wilson under pressure. Hobie Brenner. Hobie Brenner, the tight end, picks up what appears to be a New Orleans 1st down.
Well, that's a real turnaround. Usually with 2nd and long, it's such a difficult call to make. The Eagles have a blitz on. There you see number 50 coming right up the middle, again hitting Wilson. But that leaves Hobie Brenner open over the middle, and Brenner tucks it away and goes down and makes a big 1st down.
Let's credit Brenner with 18 yards on the reception. That was Gary Cobb who came on the delayed blitz. Put some pressure on Wilson, but Dave stayed in there and threw the strike to Brenner. From the 32-yard line, 1st down. Handoff to Wayne Wilson. Can he get outside? The Eagles with the good pursuit. Wes Hopkins coming up and driving Wayne Wilson out of bounds. Gary Cobb with an assist. Not much going that time.
Well, Dan, like many teams in the NFL, the Saints like to use that one-back offense quite a bit. You know, usually they'll have Earl Campbell in on a running situation. In a passing situation, they like to go with Wayne Wilson, who's a much better receiver coming out of the backfield. That time they hoped to go up the middle with Tice on a trap play, but it didn't work, and they had to go outside.
If Gaijan would have been healthy, it would have been Gaijan and Campbell. But when they go one back, they like it to be Wayne Wilson. Dave Wilson this time has an open receiver. That's Eric Martin. Eric Martin not going out of bounds. Made the good move, and he picks up another New Orleans 1st down.
Number 84, Eric Martin, is really a favorite here. 7th-round draft choice from LSU. Here you see him working one-on-one with an out pattern, and with that much cushion, it doesn't take much of a move. Number 29, Elbert Fowles, is replacing the injured Roynell Young, and he'll have to get up a little tighter if he's going to prevent that kind of pass completion.
Elbert Fowles completely out of the picture. That's an indication as to the size of that cushion. Eric Martin, his 11th catch of the season. A promising rookie for New Orleans. Again, Wilson to throw. Incomplete. He was pressured that time. Brown came in. Joe Drake also in there putting on the hit, and the New Orleans fans thought there should have been some interference. Eric Martin working against Herman Edwards.
Well, watch Herman Edwards. In years past, they would have called this a pass interference because anytime near that end zone, when the defensive player hits that offensive receiver and the ball's in the air, last year it's an automatic flag. This year they're letting the defense get a lot closer on that, and that's why there was no call.
By where the ball came in and landed, you have to wonder if Eric Martin would have been able to get to that football. Second down from the 13. Again, Wilson throws to the end zone, and what a defensive play that time by Albert Fowles. Boy, did he come up and make a fine play, Gene.
Well, you can't go back too many times. You know, they just beat him a couple of plays ago in that same pattern, and I guess he's seen it before. Here comes Martin. He's a rookie, and he runs the pattern the same way. And Fowles, who played almost the entire season last year replacing Roynell Young, is up to it with a great defensive stop. You know, that guy's on the island out there, and when he gets beat like he did 2 plays earlier when he wasn't even in the picture, he looks horrible. But there he made a great play.
Roynell Young, injured last week in that game against the Giants, does not start today. The blitz is on, and down goes Wilson. Wes Hopkins on the safety blitz, got in.
The Eagles safeties, Ellis and Hopkins, as a pair, I believe they may be the 2 best safeties in the league, Dan. They can play pass, they can play run, and they can blitz. Here, getting close to the end zone, Wilson has to be alert for that, but they just could not pick it up. And I think, Dan, it might have been because of that inexperienced offensive line of the Saints. They had 3 injuries 2 weeks ago, and they have 3 new starters.
They certainly do. Perot, Hilgenberg, and Williams, the 2 guards in the center, are newcomers. Well, now Morton Anderson will attempt to get the Saints on the board as he tries a 40-yarder. He gets good foot into it, and it's right there. New Orleans, with Morton Anderson on a 40-yard field goal, has taken the lead. Well, can the Eagles get it going offensively? We'll find out.
You don't get to the top by looking back. You go for it. With all the power you can muster, all the confidence, all the poise. And you know that when you finally make your move, you're going to go all the way. Cavalier, for people who know exactly where they're going.
Drive today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy.
Cavalier.
What's he doing now?
He's looking kind of funny at his cigar.
Bet it's the wrapper.
How come?
Most cigars don't use natural leaf wrappers anymore. Now, Garcia Vega's still an honest cigar. Garcia Vega still gives you the rich tobacco taste of natural leaf wrappers.
Hey, he's doing it again.
He ought to switch to an honest cigar.
Garcia Vega, still an honest cigar.
He's doing it again.
Radio Shack understands that a computer purchase is a serious personal and business decision. But what's really important is the company behind the computer. At Radio Shack, when you buy a computer, you buy a company. A company committed to technology, service, and support. We'll be here when you need us. With a telephone hotline, training, education, and excellent service. Tandy Computers, in business, for business. Tandy, clearly superior.
An Ernest Jackson fumble has become a 3-point lead for the New Orleans Saints as Morton Anderson kicked a 40-yarder to put his club out front, and he'll now kick off.
That Eagle defense, Dan, really, it was almost a touchdown situation. I think the Eagles feel very good to get out of there with just giving up 3 points.
It really was a team blitz. It was Wes Hopkins that got in, but another safety, Evan Cooper, was coming as well. Anderson with a high, deep kick that'll be fielded in the end zone by Herman Hunter, and he decides to stay home. That may be a wise decision. It'll be 1st and 10 for Philadelphia at the 20-yard line. Well, next Saturday, CBS Sports College Football will bring you a bitter rivalry between the Michigan Wolverines, undefeated, beating Wisconsin 33-6 yesterday, against the Michigan State Spartans up in East Lansing. That game live at 2:30 Eastern Time. The Michigan Wolverines and the Michigan State Spartans.
Is that a big game, Dan?
I get excited just talking about that.
Yeah, just because you went to Michigan.
On first down, Randall Cunningham goes to Ernest Jackson, and what a hole. Ernest Jackson, a big hole on the right side, immediately picks up a Philadelphia first down.
Now, Ernest Jackson is really fun to talk to. He told me he's still trying to prove himself to his teammates. But when he keeps running the ball like this, it will not take him long. Ernest played for the Chargers last year and led the entire AFC in rushing, and he knows how to find a hole. They call him a straight up and down runner. He doesn't go to the sidelines. He likes to turn it up with power.
Smart play by the Eagle offensive coaches, immediately coming back to Jackson after the fumble. Ernest gets the call again, barrels forward for a couple. On that last play, when he got around the right side, if you notice number 57, Ricky Jackson, he's the linebacker that had contained on that play, and he got caught to the inside, and Ernest Jackson went for 13.
Well, Ricky Jackson, who is one of the New Orleans Saints Pro Bowlers, feels that he doesn't get the recognition that his more celebrated teammate in college, Hugh Green, gets.
What's interesting about the Ricky Jackson-Hugh Green connection at Pitt was that Ricky Jackson was the leading tackler on that ball club. Second down, 6 yards to go. Cunningham throws, and it's dropped. That's Michael Haddix, who had it, looked upfield, and just plain dropped the football.
That's always a tough play for a back circling out of the backfield because you know those defenders are drawing a beat on you. Here, Cunningham with a very deft touch leading him perfectly, but Haddix, I guess he tried to run before he caught it, which is the usual mistake a receiver will make when he drops that ball that's coming right to him.
Don't you know the Eagle coach is just cringed on the sidelines. They want their youngster to get as much confidence as he can, as early as he can in a ball game, and Michael Haddix didn't give him any help. The shotgun on third down. Cunningham, with all sorts of time, overthrows his man, and a flag comes late. A flag comes in late, and Johnny Poe doesn't like this at all. A flag on the far sideline, it appears, as well. We may have a couple different fouls called in this one play. Holding against New Orleans, so that'll bring up an automatic first down for Philadelphia. So Haddix dropped the ball, but Cunningham here gets a break.
Well, New Orleans
Holding 2 players on the defense, both number 25 and 26. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
I guess that's 2 for the price of 1, Dan. Well, we're going to take a look at Poe holding. You know, the defense came out to play tough, and they're playing that tough position up close, and they have 5 yards where they can jam the receiver. Now, Willie Tullis.
That's Willie Tullis rather than Johnny Poe.
Right.
They both were guilty on the play.
Take your pick, I guess, huh?
That time we looked at Willie Tullis. This is Ernest Jackson on first down. Not much going. The Saints swarm to the football. Tony Elliott, their nose guard, number 99 at the bottom of that pile. Picks up a couple, bringing up second down and 8.
Well, Ted Marcher-Broda, the offensive coordinator for the Eagles, told me that he believes that his team can move the ball both on the ground and in the air, but it's important to get some momentum going. That's why they're running the ball so much early in the game.
And they would love to see their running attack be strong today. That certainly takes some of the pressure off of Randall Cunningham. Ernest Jackson, the AFC's leading rusher of a year ago, picks up about 3 on that play. We'll see if Philadelphia will go to their passing attack. Ernest Jackson came to the Eagles in a trade with San Diego. Of course, San Diego has now supplemented their running attack by the acquisition of Gary Anderson. A good trade for the Eagles in acquiring Ernest Jackson, as the Eagles traded Wilbert Montgomery to the Detroit Lions for linebacker Gary Cobb. A lot of players going in and out of Philadelphia, Gene. Third down, 5 yards to go, and the Eagles go to the shotgun. Cunningham. A lot on that ball. Across the middle to Spagnola. The ball was up in the air a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like John was a little surprised at how quick that ball got there. You know, Randall, he can really fire that ball.
He comes over the top, a classic delivery, and that ball, safe to say that it had a lot on it.
That's right.
It went off of Spagnola's hands and went another 20 yards downfield, and the Eagles were lucky that wasn't intercepted. Michael Horan will punt. Eric Martin, the lone deep man for New Orleans, sets up at about his 10. Horan, a very high kick near the sidelines, and it goes out of bounds. There'll be no return on that one. Let's see where they spot it. Outside the 20 at the 21-yard line. It'll be first down for the Saints. A 31-yard kick, and obviously no return. There's 7 minutes and 11 seconds left here in the first quarter. New Orleans has the lead.
company, but we'll give you a chance to work where there's always a challenge. We'll give you opportunities to learn, to develop, to perfect skills that you thought were beyond your reach. We'll help you build a career that can reward you for the rest of your life. We're not a company, we're your country. We're the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
A while ago, I made myself 3 promises. Never wear a tie, work for anyone, or be any place I didn't want to be. That's why I drive a Chevy S10 4x4. It lets me work, play, all, go to dinner with Kim, or fishing with Sue. You know, if it doesn't fit in my Chevy S10, it doesn't fit in my life.
Who's Kim?
Nothing works like a Chevy truck.
Does Apple Raisin Crisp get its homemade taste?
Homemade taste?
From apples like Grandma baked.
Tastes like my recipe.
Does Apple Raisin Crisp get its homemade taste from the raisins that sweeten its taste?
I love raisins.
Where does Apple Raisin Crisp get its delicious homemade taste?
From Kellogg's.
And now, big juicy chunks of real apple bring out more of the delicious taste in new Apple Raisin Crisp cereal. Mmm.
New Orleans will open up offensively at their own 21-yard line. Let's see what's going on around the National Football League. Get a couple of scores here for you. Detroit's leading Green Bay.
Yeah, 7-0 in that one, Dan.
Buffalo out in front of Indianapolis, 7-0 in the first quarter.
Greg Bell had an 18-yard run. Glad his knee wasn't hurt as bad as we thought it might have been.
And as you saw, Cleveland out in front. On first down, flags go flying, and this play's going nowhere. A dead play as the whistle blew before the snap of the football.
Dan, if the Eagles are going to be successful, they have to work with field position.
Left side offensive line.
You know, field position is so important to the Eagle team. And as well as their defense is playing, if they can keep decent field position, they think with Paul McFadden, who's an excellent field goal kicker, that they can win just on field goals, although, of course, they'd like to get some touchdowns in there.
Well, we're seeing a good matchup of field goal kickers here today. Anderson for New Orleans and McFadden for Philadelphia. Miami leading Pittsburgh 7-0 over in the AFC. That's a first quarter score. Well, the 5-yard penalty makes it 1st and 15. And Dave Wilson hands off to Wayne Wilson. And he's hit immediately by Anthony Griggs. And another flag is down. You know, the Saints having difficulty moving out of their own end of the field, and this looks like another 10 yards.
You know, that Eagle defense, they'll drive the ball just as far as that Eagle offense. I mean, they've picked up 5 yards on the first play. Now with another holding penalty, they're picking up another 10 yards. You're seeing a defensive drive, Dan.
Well, the Eagles have only allowed 60 points in their 4 games. At 15-yard a clip average, that'll win you some football.
Holding, number 71, offense, half the distance penalty, first down.
Well, that's Petey Perreault, who's having to fill in. Unbelievably, the Saints lost Kelvin Clark, Brad Edelman, and Steve Court, the entire interior of their offensive line within 17 plays. All 3 of those fellas went out in a game against Tampa Bay earlier in the season, and what a crushing blow that could be for an offensive line. I've never seen anything like that. 1st and 23. Not much going there. New Orleans hands the ball off to Wayne Wilson, and he's got nowhere Reggie White.
That Saint offensive line is really going to be challenged today because head coach Marion Campbell of the Eagles, I mean, he is known for turning out outstanding defensive linemen. There's an injured player on the field, Dan.
One of the Eagles is down, and that is Reggie White, the defensive lineman who made that tackle, and he is injured on the play. 6:35, we're still in the first quarter. New Orleans is out in front.
Some things look hard, but once you know the secret, they're easy.
It's easy.
Some people think financing a new car is hard, but it isn't. It's easy.
It's as easy as GMAC.
With GMAC, buying or leasing a new GM car or truck is easy. Ask your GM dealer and see how easy it is. Financing a new car may seem hard, but once you know the secret,
It's as easy as GMAC.
it's easy.
If you're thinking about cutting wood for a cold winter's night, now's a good time for a Stihl. Why? Because it's tough. You can drop it, bang it, bruise it, batter it, and it still holds up. Which is why more people are buying Stihl chainsaws than any other gasoline saw around. It'll take harsh and brutal conditions, cruel and unusual punishment. We're talking tough. Stihl saws, $199.95 to start. About time you owned a Stihl, don't you think?
Forget everything you know about shaving and get ready for the extraordinary. Extra Rich Edge Gel with more rich moisturizers and 40% more lubricant than the leading foam. So you get down where you want to be, close, and feel good about it. Smooth, comfortable. Extra Rich Edge Gel. It's not your ordinary shave.
Wednesday.
You want to go on a date with me? Get away from me!
A small-town girl is trapped in an underworld of vice and danger. Her family's only hope, the equalizer, Wednesday.
There you see number 91, Reggie White. And this is the play he got injured on. He made a great play jumping on a guy's back, but as he comes over, he falls down and looks like maybe one of his teammates, 51, Keith Wilkes, might have hit him in the ribs.
Dave Wilson goes downfield and he completes it to Eric Martin. Dave Wilson on second down finds his rookie receiver, Eric Martin, for the completion.
Well, number 29 for the Eagles, Elbert Fowles, clearly will be tested today. Here he is again matched up one-on-one with number 84 of the Saints, Eric Martin. Martin again running that same out pattern. As he comes down, he looks in, cuts out, good hands, but Fowles is giving him too much cushion. The one that Fowles broke up, he was close to the end zone, so he didn't have room to give him the cushion. Now that he's giving him the cushion again, the Saints are taking advantage of it.
It's 3rd and 4. New Orleans for the first down, throws the ball downfield, and once again, that's Eric Martin. Eric Martin with the reception moves the sticks for New Orleans.
Well, I guess Dave Wilson is finally feeling good. You know, so many games he's had this season where he started off poorly, but this time he's starting off very hot. You got two receivers out there, and a lot of times the defensive backs can get picked off or confused. This time, you can see that with two receivers in the area, it looks like it might have even been a mistake, Dan.
You very seldom see that many those two guys that close together. If it was a mistake, it worked out very well for New Orleans, and on first down, it's Wayne Wilson with the carry.
There's a look at Reggie, and I guess he's feeling better. But Reggie,
what a week he had last week, James.
Oh, yeah, he had a great week last week. Coming in his first game with the Eagles, he had 3 sacks, and he tipped the pass that caused the interception that allowed Herman Edwards to run in for a touchdown.
It's one heck of a start, a tough act to follow.
To be sure.
Reggie left the field under his own power, and it looks like he'll be back. 4 yards on that first down carry, and it brings up 2nd and 6. Wilson airs it out. Again going for Martin, but that pass out of bounds.
Well, that was a good call by the Saints that time, Dan, because they've been going to the right, going to the right, going to the right with success. And what happens usually is the defense will compensate to that side, leaving one-on-one coverage to the other side. And that time Wilson tried to probe it, but Wes Hopkins was back there, a good free safety.
Yeah, they were there. Wes Hopkins along with Herman Edwards. The good coverage on Martin, and Wilson wisely threw the ball out of bounds. So you see Dave, 5 of 10. It's 3rd and 6 from their own 44. With good time across the middle, and here comes the flag. That was Hobie Brenner, the tight end. He's hit, and the flag comes out of the secondary.
Anytime you're running a pass in the middle, Dan, you can expect contact.
Well, there it works against Philadelphia. Too aggressive in the secondary. The hit from behind against Hobie Brenner. We'll get the call from the referee, Gordon McCarter.
Maybe.
Illegal use of hands, number 21 defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Evan Cooper.
Well, that was Well, that was on Evan Cooper, Dan. In passing situations, the Eagles will come in with as many in the past as 8 defensive backs. Now with Roynell Young being hurt, they'll come in with 7. Here they have many defensive backs. You see in the middle of your screen what happened, and there was contact, a good call.
That one easy to call. Evan Cooper all over Hobie Brenner. A first down for New Orleans, and Wayne Wilson, what a versatile ball player, picks up 8. 7th-year player from Shepherd University.
And we asked him where that was.
It's in West Virginia, in case you were wondering.
And he said he's the only player to make the NFL out of Shepherd.
Let's credit Wilson with 9 yards on that carry. Again, it's Wilson, and look at him. What a run. Wayne Wilson with all the room in the world to the outside.
Well, they've been using that formation to pass the entire first quarter, and now all of a sudden they've gone to their other weapon. Wilson to Wilson.
It certainly worked out last week as these Saints upset the 49ers 20-17 at Candlestick. Another Saint first down. Wilson to throw. Eugene Goodlow with the touchdown, and he's injured on the play.
That was a fine throw by Dave Wilson, who had plenty of time. The Saints have been crossing up the Eagles. They'd run, they'd pass, they'd run, they pass. That time, looking for the run, they set up, and boy, that was a great throw. See us off of play action. He faked the run to Wilson that time, and he has plenty of time. And that's what makes the difference for a quarterback. When a quarterback has time like that in the NFL, they usually know what to do with it. And Goodlow, with good speed, got deep. He's also a little injured there, and I think what happened was he caught the ball, and a lot of times what happens to a receiver, it happened to me many times, is you catch that ball and land, and the point of the ball gets you right in the sternum, and it'll knock the air right out of you.
Herman Edwards had the initial coverage on Eugene Goodlow, and it looked like Ray Ellis, who had the deep outside to that side, was late in getting over into the coverage.
Well, that's what happened when the quarterback has time, see, because he's fooled a little. Ray was looking to go outside, then he looked back to the middle, and that was all he needed.
Well, Goodlow is up, and he's walking back towards the Saint bench, and to a fine ovation. Goodlow with his second touchdown catch of the year has given the Saints a 9-0 lead, and Morton Anderson will try the extra point. It's right down the middle, and New Orleans on the verge of taking command of this football game. 3:26 left in the first quarter. The Saints out front.
Where I come from, folks stand proud and tall. They'll look you right in the eye. A place where pride is worth a whole lot more than money can buy. Where people care about their family. Where laughter's sincere. Where your word is your word. A friend's a friend and Miller's the beer. Miller's made the American way. Born and brewed in the USA. Drinking it today. Miller's made the American way.
Miller contains no additives, no preservatives. Miller Beer. Purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Miller's made the American way.
This is today's Chevrolet S10 Blazer.
For the fun, for the choice, for the town, on the great outdoors, it's all there for you.
Weekends, work, or just plain cruising, Chevy S10 Blazer can do it all with versatility, style, and a touch of fun. No wonder it's America's favorite sport utility vehicle, Chevy S10 Blazer.
Drive today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy.
Live it.
Chevy.
Lady, you're trespassing. Tonight on Murder, She Wrote, the mysterious remains of a past death give an unknown killer reason for a new murder and a new victim. Tonight.
Well, the Saints are picking up where they left off last week. An 8-play drive, 79 yards. The big play, Dave Wilson to Eugene Goodlow. Goodlow, who was injured on that touchdown, but usually on a touchdown, you want to get up and spike that ball.
Morton Anderson kicks off a high kick that makes it to the Eagle goal line, and Herman Hunter brings it out. And he doesn't make it. He gets out near the 15-yard line.
Well, the last thing that Coach Campbell of the Eagles wanted was for the Saints to get off to a fast start, because the fans here are so starved for a winner. The Saints have never been to a playoff. Last week they beat the 49ers, the champions, and they think they have a team that might go to the playoffs now.
Next week is a CBS doubleheader. The first game in your area might be St. Louis against Philadelphia. The Giants in Cincinnati or Detroit and Washington, 12:30 Eastern. And then the second game, Atlanta and Seattle, New Orleans against the Rams and the 49ers and the Bears. Check your local listings for the game time. On first down, Cunningham, he keeps it. Randall Cunningham brought it back down, and he's sacked.
Looking at it from ground level, you can see with Randall Cunningham as he feels the pressure. That's 75, Bruce Clark coming in, and he held the ball, which is good, because a lot of times a rookie quarterback will throw that ball into the coverage. But Randall took the hit.
He was hit from behind by Jim Wilkes, and I don't even think Wilkes thought he had the football. I think he thought he threw it. Ernest Jackson goes right. Ricky Jackson and the Saints are there.
Yeah, Dave Waymer, the quarterback, number 44, also came up and sacrificed his body. I mean, he literally threw his body into that play. There he is, number 44, Waymer.
This cannot be the start that Marion Campbell wanted to see.
No, especially in that Superdome, because you don't want to go on the road and give that team anything for the home fans to cheer about.
There's still over 2 minutes left to play in the first quarter, and already the Saints out in front by 10. And 3rd and 12 for young Randall Cunningham. Here comes a flag. He was going for Kenny Jackson, and out comes the flag. You have to wonder, with the bad ankle in weeks previous to this, if Cunningham wouldn't have taken off.
Number 25 defense, automatic 1st and 10.
You know, Dan, it's funny. I was thinking the same thing. I was wondering whether it's because his ankle is a little sore, because that left ankle was sprained last week, or is he getting experience now because he came up and he had plenty of time once he got through that initial rush. Kenny Jackson was open and he delivered a fine pass.
Johnny Poe, another penalty for New Orleans. And on first down, this time it's number 36. That's Herman Hunter taking off with the football, and he tries the right side, but Ricky Jackson.
Well, Ricky is tough on that point of attack. You know, he likes to blitz, but he says he also likes to play that run right at him. Here you see now on a tight end, he wants to control that tight end, but not go down too far because the back is coming at him. He got knocked back a little bit, but boy, he's tough.
He fought off the block of Major Everett, third-year player for the Eagles, and Ricky Jackson, one of the very best at the outside linebacker position. Cunningham, he's under pressure, but gets it away to Hunter. And how about that? Bruce Clark coming all the way across.
Well, I told you how Ricky Jackson likes to blitz, and he helped set that play up that time, because 57, Jackson comes flying in from your left side. Watch 75 in the middle of your screen. They had a game on, and he's over there to fight through that wall of blockers for the screen and make the big tackle. 75, Bruce Clark.
Bruce, who spent a couple of years in Canada, that time made the play, but after the pressure by Ricky Jackson, who's already got 5 sacks on the year, and Randall Cunningham having a shaky start. Shotgun on third down. He's thrown, and it's intercepted. That's Dave Waymer. He fumbles. And it's picked up by the Saints. When it rains, it pours. Frank Waddle recovered the Dave Waymer fumble.
They found a mismatch, Dan. Number 26 on the left of your screen can't block Ricky Jackson. That's Haddix. He can't block him. He tried to pull him down. Cunningham felt the pressure, rushed the pass, incomplete. And now Waymer knows what to do with it, except he forgets to put it away.
Mike Quick got a hand on the ball, but it deflected to Waymer, who then fumbled, and Frank Waddle alertly made the recovery, and the Saints deep in Eagle territory. Wayne Wilson, a lone setback, gets the ball. He picks up maybe a yard, and here comes a flag.
I think it's on the tight end.
This is going to go against New Orleans.
John Tice was out there trying to block Reggie Wilkes, and Wilkes is tough to hook. You know, a tight end has a play called a hook block where he tries to get that linebacker and keep him from going outside so the sweep can get out there. And that time, that was the play that was called. And Wilkes, I used to block Wilkes when I was playing, Dan, and he's a tough linebacker to hook.
But the key is not to put out the hooks.
Holding, number 82, offense, repeat first down.
Well, I don't know about putting them out. It's knowing when to pull them in, because you got to hook them a little.
Well, you spotted that one. John Tice moves his Saints back 10 yards and brings up a 1st and 20. Wilson at quarterback, Wilson at running back. And Dave goes downfield, and he's got Larry Hardy.
Well, Dan, it used to be my favorite situation, a tight end being covered by a linebacker. Here you see Larry Hardy's going to come across the middle, and number 58, Anthony Griggs, is trying to cover him, and there he is, but he doesn't have a chance.
That was the last play of the first quarter. Larry Hardy on the catch for the Saints has them very deep in Eagle territory. It's 10-0 in favor of New Orleans, and they threaten to open it up.
See Michigan battle Michigan State or UCLA against Stanford next Saturday on CBS Sports.
This is a United Way Hearing and Speech Center in the Philadelphia area. It's just one of 177 centers like it that are supported by the United Way across the country. I'm John Spagnuolo of the Philadelphia Eagles. My love affair with these children started when I visited this agency as a United Way volunteer. I want to tell you about just one child. Her name is Julie. In 1971, she heard sound for the first time in an agency just like this. But that wasn't the end of her story. Today, she's a track star winning medals, and she has a dream to someday be running for the gold as an Olympic hopeful.
Julie Barty!
And now I'd like you to meet Julie. Here she communicates as a United Way volunteer, helping children who face the same challenges she faced. With your help, I know they're going to make it. So thanks, because thanks to you, it works for all of us. The United Way. I love you.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
The first play of the second quarter finds New Orleans 1st and goal at the Eagles' 7-yard line. How's this for setting your offense? Wilson sends Hardy back to the wing. A ragged play for New Orleans. Wayne Wilson gets the football, but I think they're lucky to pick up a couple.
I guess you can get a little confused, you know, left and right. You know, sometimes you don't know the difference. But the Saints have got to be excited. Boy, 10-0 lead this early in the game.
It's Bum Phillips talking with his offensive line coach, Carl Mock, former center for the Oilers for Bum for a number of years.
The singing center, I might add.
The singing center. Well, he'll be singing the praises of his offense if they can get a touchdown It's 2nd and goal at the 5. Wilson to Wilson. He threw to Wayne Wilson, but they're going to call that an incomplete pass.
Well, the yards sure get tough to come by the closer you get to the end zone, especially against this tough Eagle defense. Here you see from the backside, pressure on Wilson, but he still gets the pass out, but it's dropped. Number 24, Ellis, was coming in on a safety blitz. You know, Dan, in the first quarter, the Eagles only had a -9 yards passing. Now we know why they're last in the league. But New Orleans had a whopping 142 yards of total offense, and they're still moving.
The Eagles dead last in the NFL with their passing attack, and they're not off to a good start by any stretch of the imagination. 3rd and goal. Wilson pumps once. Intercepted by Evan Cooper. There's a break for the Eagles. Evan Cooper comes up with a deflected pass.
Well, that's a play you would expect from a rookie quarterback. Not a Dave Wilson, who's been in this league for 4 years. He rolled out and he had plenty of time, but what happened was the Eagles had that play defense. Here you see you got 2 wide receivers and another back, number 19, Guido Merkins, coming out there, but they're covered. Now they're open, and then a bad pass, a tip ball, and an interception by Cooper. A big play for the Eagles, but will they be able to take advantage of it? Because they're backed up against the end zone with the crowd screaming in their ears. In my ears too, Dan.
Merkins was open on the play, and the ball was back behind him. That's his first interception of his NFL career. Evan Cooper, the second-year safety man from Michigan.
You know, people might wonder why Guido Merkins had number 19, because you don't see many receivers with that number anymore. But Guido, who's also the number 3 quarterback, or the number 4 quarterback on this team, has been in the league long enough to keep his original number, which was 19.
It is 2nd down. 6 yards to go for Philadelphia, and New Orleans is tough. New Orleans playing tough defense, and Philadelphia a long way to go.
Well, I'm sure when Cunningham and the Eagle offense went out there, the coach told them to try to get that ball past the 20. Don't worry about going 99 yards and scoring a touchdown. It's only 10-0. We're still in this game, but let's get that ball out so we can kick it past the 50.
Some first downs right now, more important for the Eagles. 3rd and 4. Cunningham's going to throw. Across the middle, an incompletion, and Philadelphia is going to have to punt. Mike Quick, the intended receiver. And this is just not going Philadelphia's way at the moment. Mike Horan from his own end zone. Mike Horan, a tremendous job of getting rid of the football. That ball deflected by the Eagles. That will be brought back, and here comes a flag. That ball knocked forward by Philadelphia, and you're not allowed to do that. A 31-yard kick by Mike Horan, but what a job he did by fielding a bad snap.
And there's a flag on the play, Dan. Do you think they could have called a penalty for hitting that ball?
Oh, they sure did. What a fine retrieval of the football that time by Horan. Well, we're going to get this call going against Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think what happened was, Dan, because the punt didn't get off on the normal timing, that the lineman released to go downfield to cover. And as you know, the interior lineman can't go downfield to cover until after the kick.
Illegal batting of the punted ball during the kick by a member of the kicking team. Penalty declined. First down the other way.
Boy, Dan, is that the illegal batting signal when the referee goes 2 hands on the shoulders?
Yeah.
They got so many signals I can't keep them.
A hand to the top of the head is the illegal receiver downfield.
Well, I knew it was the hand going up.
Number 20 is Andre Waters as he advanced the football, but it'll be 1st and 10 for New Orleans, and they're already up by 10.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
When Elliott took over as manager, the Southport office was considered exceptional, exceptionally sloppy and unproductive. So Elliott called in Team Xerox, who studied his documents and recommended a solution, including Xerox memory writers for perfect letters and the 1090 Marathon, the most productive copier in the world. Now the Southport office is exceptional for something else.
The most dramatic turnaround of the year at the Southport office.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All the right parts in all the right places. Napa's putting smiles on American faces.
Napa means auto parts. So dependable, they may be the best part of your car. More than 100,000 parts for import and domestic vehicles are available through over 6,500 Napa stores all across the country. Or get Napa quality at garages and service outlets where you see the Napa sign. Wherever you go, Napa's the one.
All the right parts in all the right places. Napa.
Last year, car makers spent over $1 billion in advertising just to tell you how wonderful their cars are. Fortunately, there is a more objective opinion, car owners. According to a recent survey of all the cars in America, import or domestic, now, for the second year in a row, car owners rated Subaru second only to Mercedes-Benz in customer satisfaction. And that's the kind of advertising money can't buy. Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way.
The year's top marathon field, including Olympic champion Joan Benoit, is expected in Chicago for America's Marathon, October 20th on CBS Sports.
A key element to a good punt is getting a good snap. Here, Horan did not get a good snap, but he's a good athlete. He comes up with it. It could have been a safety if that ball had gone out of the end zone.
A fine play by Horan, but New Orleans on first down. Tyrone Anthony. Tyrone Anthony around the left side. Substantial yardage. Let's give him about 7 on the play.
Well, the Saints are starting to go into their bag of tricks. That's not what you would call a normal play on their offense. And Tyrone Anthony is usually not a key performer in that backfield. A little surprising, I think, to the Eagles on that run.
Tyrone, their third-round draft choice last year, has not seen much action. This is Wayne Wilson, and he darts up and he picks up the first down. Wayne Wilson, 6 yards on the carry. Thomas Struthers in on the tackle. Green Bay's out in front of Detroit, 10-3, a second quarter score. A 7-3 San Francisco lead as they try to rebound from last week's loss. Indianapolis winless, 14-7 over Buffalo, winless as well. Flags down. Wayne Wilson has the ball. Let me correct myself. I forgot Indianapolis won the ball game. Indianapolis going into this weekend 1-3, but Buffalo 0-4. Rod Dowhower will get mad at me for that.
That looked like our favorite penalty, Dan.
Well, this goes against the Eagles.
But was it encroachment or was it offsides? That's what I want to know.
Well, let's listen to Gordon McCarter.
Offside, number 93, defense. 5-yard penalty, first down 5.
You know, those two penalties are so similar. I know Marion Campbell wondering what happened.
Thomas Struthers flagged. That's 5 yards the easy way. On first down, Dave Wilson to Wayne Wilson. And he runs right into Kenny Clark but breaks free. Still, maybe only a yard for Wayne Wilson. Greg Brown finally makes the hit from his right defensive end position.
At number 71 for the Eagles, Kenny Clark is one of the top nose tackles in the game. And if you can't control that nose tackle, you're going to have a tough time running the ball. You know, the Saints center really is at a disadvantage because he only weighs 248 pounds. And that's small for an NFL center.
That's Joel Hilgenberg. Has a brother that plays with a Bear and an uncle, for the Bears rather, than an uncle that used to play with the Vikings. Wally Hilgenberg, the linebacker. Wayne Wilson cuts upfield on second down. Picks up maybe a couple. Still be short, brings up a third down for the Saints. Philadelphia's defense refusing to buckle.
I just got a note here, Dan, that Reggie White has taken his pads off and he's going to be out at least for the rest of this half. That's a blow to that Eagle defense.
Reggie White bruised his ribs, has not been back into the ball game. The x-rays have turned out to be negative. So no broken ribs, and we'll have to see if Reggie White returns in the second half. Third down, 2 yards to go. This is Wayne Wilson, and he doesn't get it. The Eagles are there, and there's Kenny Clark.
Kenny Clark is so tough. Saints came out with 2 tight ends that run formation. Wayne Wilson had a chance to either go up the middle or break it outside, but he had nowhere to go because number 71, Kenny Clark, who looks like he's getting a little tired, and I guess so, because you got to be tired of all that pushing and pulling in the middle.
One of the Eagles is down on the field right now. That's Greg Brown.
Oh, they can't afford to lose him.
16 sacks a year ago for Greg Brown. And now he's being attended to by the Eagles staff, and he appears to be in pain, but at least he's up.
That's their leading trainer on the left there, Dan, Otho Davis, who is well known around the league.
Reggie White not looking very happy as
you can see he's bandaged there right in the mid area. I was going to say mid-drift.
He's got an ice pack strapped onto his injured ribs, and now Greg Brown. So these are the 2 starting defensive ends here for the Eagles. Gene, how about the way the Eagles have played defense? Twice New Orleans has been down here, and now the Eagles rather playing tough defense.
Oh, they're tough.
Second quarter score between New England and Cleveland. They're tied. Miami still out in front of Pittsburgh. It's a second quarter score. They're up by 7. Well, Greg Brown heads to the Eagles sideline. Evan Cooper made the interception to stop a New Orleans scoring drive, and now the Eagle defense is going to force the Saints into a field goal attempt.
Well, the Saints offense has been very successful so far, and one of the surprises, at least to me, Dan, is the fact that Wayne Wilson has already rushed for 11 times for 41 yards. Now, 41 yards is not surprising, but 11 times in the first half is.
Wayne Wilson, I guess you'd have to call him always there. Every time that he's needed, he comes through with a big game, and again, today he's off to a good start. Well, Morton Anderson, the ball will be spotted at the 23.5-yard line, so let's make this a 33.5-yard kick. As you can see for yourself, it's right down the middle, and he's added to the New Orleans Saints lead. Morton Anderson puts the Saints out in front. It's now 13-0.
Here's you. Here's your competition. One of you will call AT&T small business experts. One of you won't. One of you will find out how to use long distance
to cover your customer base,
to beat your competition. So who's going to call? You or the other guy? AT&T long distance services. Talk with us. AT&T, the right choice.
I never got used to the idea of being a hero. Been no stars on a potato farm. I lived a simple life here. A really good life.
There's still a place where people don't forget where they came from. A place where beer is beer, and the brand is Miller.
Miller's made the American way.
Miller contains no additives or preservatives. Purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Miller's made the American way.
Shh, be very, very quiet. Hey, what's up, Doc? I'm hunting for the shop.
Last season, the Chicago Bears Super Bowl dreams died in San Francisco. They'll seek revenge when they visit the 49ers next Sunday on CBS Sports.
Morton Anderson delivered on the 33-yard field goal attempt. It's now 13-0. The Saints in command, but a couple of good defensive series by the Eagles limited the Saints to only 3 points. Anderson, a high kickoff, fielded by Herman Hunter at the 2-yard line, and he goes to the left side. Johnny Poe makes contact right at the 20-yard line, and here comes some more flags. Tough to do something in the kicking game without a flag.
It's tough for the Eagles to get going with penalties being called against them.
This will be an illegal use of hands against the Eagles.
But the Eagles have to feel fortunate that it's only 13-0.
Illegal block above the waist, number 90 on the receiving team. Half a distance, first down.
That's Aaron Brown, the linebacker from Ohio State. And Randall Cunningham starts in the hole. Green Bay, 2 touchdowns out in front of Detroit. And Cleveland now 14-7, second quarter score over New England. First and 10 from their own 9-yard line. Cunningham to throw. He's got an open receiver. That's his tight end Spagnuolo. And John Spagnuolo picks up 9.
Well, it's clear that the coaching staff has confidence in number 12, Randall Cunningham, because a lot of veteran teams with veteran quarterbacks do not like to throw this close to the end zone. But at the same time, the Eagles know they have to get some points on the board this half. And with only 8 minutes and 35 seconds left, they better get going soon.
And they could use a good drive just for Cunningham's confidence. Randall trips and falls, and we've got another flag down on the field. Very nearly a busted play. Ernest Jackson on the carry, but some confusion on the handoff. They pick up the flag, and
yeah, it was what they call the old inadvertent flag.
No penalty on the play. How's this, Gene, for disparity in yards?
Well, that's why we see it's 13-0 New Orleans.
First down for Philadelphia. Under pressure. In the grasp. James Geathers had Cunningham in the grasp.
Well, that's got to be a very difficult call for the official to make, especially when you have a scrambling quarterback like Randall Cunningham. Here you see number 97 coming straight up the middle. Somebody made a mistake on that Eagle offensive line. Randall Cunningham wanted to scramble, but the official said, no, 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 you're in the grass and you're down.
James Geathers gets the Saints' second sack of the day. Ron Jaworski talking it over on the sidelines. That's Ted Marchibroda, the Eagles' offensive coordinator. Cunningham brings it back down. He's running with the ball, and he picks up positive yardage. Randall Cunningham, who coming into today, surprisingly, the Eagles' leading rusher.
What an athlete, Dan. Number 12. When Randall Cunningham goes back to pass, all kinds of things can happen. We've seen fumbles, we've seen interceptions, and now we've seen his first scramble of the day. There you see his left ankle, which has tape on the outside. He told me that he's been keeping tape on it all week, even when he's asleep, just to make sure it doesn't swell up on him again.
You had a nice visit with Randall Cunningham at his hotel last night?
Oh, he's fun to talk to.
A lofty 7.8-yard average, but this time he's going to throw, and it's intercepted. That's Johnny Poe. Johnny Poe with his first interception of the year takes it in for the score. And the Saints here in the second quarter blowing this game wide open.
Well, the Eagles looked like they were just about to put something together on that drive. They make a first down, and all of a sudden, boom, 6 points the other way.
Morton Anderson delivers. Morton Anderson's extra point makes it 20-0 in favor of the Saints.
There you see Poe on the screen. He's backpedaling. There's an out pattern being run there by Greg Garrity, but the ball was overthrown. Poe comes in and makes the interception, and that has to be a defensive back's dream, to make that interception, run it back for a touchdown, and to get a chance to spike the ball. But he's cool. He's cool.
The new fake spike that time by Johnny Poe.
There's Cunningham. He comes out and he looks to his left right away, which lets Poe know that the ball's coming in that direction. A poor throw that time, and Poe does the rest. You know, one factor that may be overlooked is the fact that Cunningham's throws may be off because of a bad ankle.
Well, we'll get a chance to talk about this, and you may very well be right with that, and we'll get a chance to talk the next time the Eagles come out to set up offensively after this kickoff. Hey, if you're Marion Campbell, how long do you go with Cunningham? How long do you expose him to this before you run the risk of really damaging a fine player?
Damaging him physically and damaging him mentally, because, you know, once you get down, it's so hard to come back and be confident again.
He's got Ron Jaworski on the sidelines. Marion Campbell, the Eagle head coach, and you know that has to be going through his mind. Randall Cunningham, their second-round draft choice, is really under some early heat. 6:34 left in the second quarter, and Ron Jaworski,
he's got his helmet, Dan.
Looks like he's ready to play, and he may come in. Anderson with a deep kickoff. Herman Hunter says, I'll stay here, and we'll start at the 20. And here comes Ron Jaworski.
And this could be a spark that the Eagles have been looking for, because there's still some players on that Eagle squad that think number 7, Ron Jaworski, should be the starting quarterback.
And I cannot fault Marion Campbell one bit in going with this decision. I say smart move.
I think he heard you. You just mentioned it a couple of minutes ago.
Well, Randall Cunningham, not only a youngster, but he's playing hurt. We've showed you his bad ankle. Physically, he's impaired, and he is such a gifted athlete. You see the rushing stats, averaging almost 8 yards a carry. If he's a little bit off, hey, why subject him to this? Not to mention the fact that Ron Jaworski can win the football game for the Eagles.
Well, this game's a long way from being over.
He hands off to Ernest Jackson. But it will not be easy against this New Orleans defense. Ricky Jackson and Scott Pellure.
Yeah, the Saints defense is really very, very excited. But Jaworski's been in experiences like this many times before, and he knows how to settle down on offense to get them back in a groove and get them moving that ball. But it's going to be a challenge, because Bruce Clark, Ricky Jackson, and the rest of that Saints defense, they're out for bear today. They're out for Eagles, I guess, huh?
Yeah. They play well, and it gets worse when they've got a 20-point lead. Second down, 8 yards to go. Jaws the throw. Into a crowd, and it's an incompletion. Nearly intercepted, trying to get the ball to John Spagnola.
That time they brought Mike Quick all the way across the backfield and kept him in the block on Whitney Paul, who was blitzing. That's kind of interesting, because Mike Quick is one of the most dangerous receivers in the league. And why there's 82, why would you keep him in the block on a Whitney Paul, who's one of the top blitzers in the league? Looks like a poor use of personnel there.
Whitney Paul with 5 sacks already on the season, the former Kansas City Chief. Let's make this 3rd and 8. Jaworski to the shotgun. He's got the protection, and he finds his man, Mike Quick. Mike Quick beyond the 45-yard line.
Now that's where you want Mike Quick on the football field. Mike, who his teammates call Quick 6 for good reason. He was flanked out that time and came back in motion. Now he comes upfield. He has to get away from that linebacker first. There he is. He gets away from him, and now he's all by himself. Jaworski delivers, and look at that cut. You can't coach that. You can't teach that. But you can teach a receiver to change hands like he did, to keep it away from the defender and get a big first down.
They're asking an awful lot of rookie Jack Del Rio, number 50, to try to cover Mike Quick. On first down, Ernest Jackson. He's outside. Ernest Jackson. Ernest Jackson gets the Eagle first down.
You know, Dan, it's really amazing how one big play can silence a crowd. Before, I could hardly hear myself speak. After Quick makes that big play for a minute there, you can hear a pin drop in here.
Maybe they're tired of yelling.
Well, they've been yelling the entire game, and for good reason. The Saints are up 20-0.
Ron Jaworski is moving the Eagles. As he has done many times before. On first down. Again to Quick. Again to Mike Quick. And Ron Jaworski has sparked the Eagles offensively.
As a receiver, I always like to play against a team that played zone all the time, because once you get behind those linebackers, you got some room to work. Here's Quick coming upfield again on Poe. They're in a zone. That's why Poe let him go. Now, if they were man-to-man, Poe would have followed him. But it's a zone, and Poe let him go to the next man. But the ball came before he got to the next man. That's what you call getting into the seam of the zone.
Terry Hogue on the tackle. Quick's catch, though, close enough for a measurement. And it is an Eagle first down.
You know, the Eagles are a very close-knit team. And this week, I was told that Jaworski told the defense, hey, guys, let's hold them to 2. And they said 2 points or 2 touchdowns.
The Eagles have only scored 1 offensive touchdown in 4 ball games. As hard as that is to believe, they've only scored 2 as a team, and of course one of those belongs to Herman Edwards. First down and 10. Again, Jaworski to throw. Another completion to Spagnola, and he's driven out of bounds. And that's going to be very close to the first down, and it may be a first down again for the Eagles.
That's a good point you raised, Dan, about the fact that the Eagle offense has only scored 1 touchdown. And if you look at the players at the so-called skilled positions, you really have to sort of scratch your head in wonderment. I mean, with Mike Quick, Kenny Jackson, Ernest Jackson, you feel you're going to score a lot of points. But so far, that has yet to be the case.
They do have quality in the receiving positions. Of course, Ernest Jackson, the AFC's leading rusher a year ago, so the talent is there. From the 17, first down. Handoff to Jackson. And some more positive room inside.
That's what we mean about Ernest Jackson being a straight up and down runner. A lot of backs would have taken that ball and bumped to the outside, feeling that pressure, but not Ernest. He just puts his head down, bulls his neck, and runs that ball up the middle. Boy, he's tough.
He is that. He picks up 4 yards on that carry. Ernest Jackson with the fumble early in the ball game. From the 14-yard line, second down. Jaworski intercepted.
Jaworski doesn't believe it. He audibled at the line of scrimmage. He saw a blitz coming. He threw the ball up for grabs, and the wrong man came down with it.
Dave Waymer with a tremendous effort coming up with the football, and Dave Waymer saves the Saints.
There was a blitz coming, and he saw it. Here comes the blitz. You see it on your screen, and there's Haddix, number 26, blocking Ricky Jackson. But Jaworski, the veteran that he is, saw that play, and he called a quick up. And there you see Kenny Jackson going up. The ball's in the air, and Waymer doesn't even know it's coming, but he puts his arm in there and rips it away from him. Boy, what an interception.
A fine effort by Dave Waymer. 3:09 left. It's 20-0 Saints.
It's your money, son. But if you want my advice, buy another Subaru. It's been good to us.
Sure, Dad.
I thought we agreed you'd buy a Subaru.
But, Dad, I did. The new Subaru XT Coupe. Inexpensive and built to stay that way.
The Grand Coulee Dam, built to harness the power of the Columbia River and provide electricity for millions. That took bold imagination, and it made this country grow. Today, I see that same kind of imagination in hundreds of small to mid-sized companies whose new ideas, new jobs, and new technologies will continue to build America. At First Jersey Securities, we specialize in discovering such emerging growth companies for today's investors with vision. First Jersey Securities. Come grow with us.
Dave Waymer with just a fine individual effort gets his second interception of the year.
I talked to Waymer right before the game. He said, Gene, we're going to get this one. I'm ready. We need it.
Remarkable that he came down with that football. Looked like Kenny Jackson might have had a touchdown.
Yeah, Jaworski still steamed over that, too.
On first down. Flags go flying.
Because a lot of times, Dan, they'll call that a tie, and the tie goes to the offensive receiver. Because at one moment, it appeared that both people had the ball.
False start, offense.
Well, Gordon not in a mood to narrow it down. Next week, it's a doubleheader here on CBS. The early game, St. Louis will be at Philadelphia. That game turned around because of the baseball Cardinals in the playoffs. The Giants visit Cincinnati, and the Lions go to RFK. 12:30 Eastern time, those early games. And then in the late game, Atlanta goes to Seattle. New Orleans visits the Rams, and the 4-0 Bears play the 49ers at Candlestick. Let's make this 1st and 15, and that's Wayne Wilson. Wayne Wilson off the right side, and we'll be under 3 minutes left in the first half. I would think that the Saints would be happy to just put together a couple of first downs and take this lead to the locker room.
Oh, to be sure.
A pickup of 4. This will be 2nd down and 11. A big crowd here in the Superdome at New Orleans is enjoying what they've seen. Their team out front early. Wilson to Wilson. Wayne Wilson on the carry. Just gets up near the 20-yard line. And the clock stops at 2 minutes and 15 seconds as the Eagles take a team timeout. So the Eagles, trying to stop the clock so that they can get the ball and try to get some points on the board, send Dave Wilson over to the sideline to talk to Bum Phillips. Today at halftime, it's the NFL Today. Brent Nerve will have scores and highlights of the other games in progress around the National Football League, plus a special feature, Lending a Helping Hand, what some past and present NFL ball players are doing to help the earthquake victims down in Mexico. Lending a Helping Hand, scores and highlights all coming up at halftime as we visit the NFL Today. King Hill talking things over with Dave Wilson and Marion Campbell on the far sideline, wondering probably, Gene, what words of wisdom can I pass on to my ball club?
Yeah, to be sure, they've got to be wondering. You know, Marion thinking they were so close to busting out because the team, especially that offense, has been so close to busting out. But the defense has kept them in the games usually, but they've had some bad field position and some great plays by the Saints. We've got some scores too, Dan. That's a surprise.
Yes, Tampa Bay leading Chicago. That is indeed a surprise. The Bears undefeated.
Little hot in Tampa Bay.
Green Bay 20-3 now their lead over Detroit, and Detroit off to a 3-1 start.
Well, Green Bay was due.
Green Bay at 1-3 today, trying to get back into things in the Central. And the Browns out in front of the Patriots. That's 14-10. Cleveland tied for first in the AFC Central. 3rd and 10 to the shotgun. He's sacked. Greg Brown gets in and gets Dave Wilson. 2 minutes 11 seconds on the clock, and the Eagles will get a shot before halftime, and they may get it from some good field position. The clock begins to run, and New Orleans will be more than happy to let it run down to the 2-minute warning before Brian Hansen has to kick. Well, we're at the 2-minute warning here at the Superdome in New Orleans. What else can you say? It's been all the New Orleans Saints. They enjoy a 20-0 lead.
Denerex shampoo and conditioner versus Head & Shoulders regular formula.
On this side, I can feel a tingling sensation. There's something going on up there. And this side, there's not much happening.
Look what you used.
Well, this is the brand that I usually use, and this is Denerex.
Each shampoo has one medicine for dandruff. Denerex adds an extra anti-itch medicine, and Denerex adds conditioner, too.
My hair's a lot more manageable. Feels nice. Goodbye, Head & Shoulders. Hello, Denerex.
Get Denerex, dandruff shampoo that conditions, too.
Let's go home. Hey, you two gotta go. Bye.
Please, stop. Nothing is going to ruin this wedding.
So if it takes all night, I personally will drive each of you home in my car. My Subaru.
Drive a Subaru with on-demand four-wheel drive, and don't let the weather spoil a good time.
Round here people seem to say it all without saying a word.
There are still places where you can shake a man's hand, buy him a Miller, and you've got yourself a deal.
Miller's made the American way, born and brewed in the USA, just as proud as the people who are drinking it today.
Miller Beer. Purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Miller's made the American way.
Well, Ron Jaworski, who has moved beyond 23,000 yards in career passing here in the NFL, will get a chance to move his ball club before halftime. We're at the 2-minute warning, and Brian Hansen will have to kick from near his own goal line. Evan Cooper back for the Eagles. Hansen in the Pro Bowl last year representing these Saints. This ball doesn't quite turn over, but it's fielded by Cooper. He's hit immediately. That's Terry Hogue, who Bum Phillips told us yesterday, just a superb cover man.
You won't see better coverage than that, Dan, because he had to get away from two guys that time. Did so, ran down the field, and still made the tackle.
We've got a flag down on the field thrown late.
You know, a lot of times those guys get away, and then they get down there and still miss. But Hogue, to his credit, put the hat on him.
Hansen came up with a 44-yarder that time. I tell you, that's when you got a great leg, when you get 44 yards out of a punt and it goes end over end. That's just brute strength getting the ball that far downfield.
Well, if the penalties against the Eagles, it's going to be another in a series of bad blows to them, because they were about 2 first downs away from at least a field goal opportunity, because Paul McFadden has a very strong leg.
Indeed. The Eagles appeared to think the penalty is against them, as their offensive team is almost headed for the Texas border.
Well, right now, Marion Campbell is thinking that there are 2 halves to a game, and maybe the second half will be our half.
I think Marion Campbell is thinking as well that with 1 minute and 51 seconds.
Illegal block above the waist. Number 39 on the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, 1st and 10.
That's Major Everett, one of their top special teamers. He's very aggressive, and sometimes that aggressiveness can get you in trouble, Dan.
Well, once again, the Eagles on almost every possession get penalized and have to start farther back. They've now moved the football back inside the 40-yard line, back to their own 34. So,
but I still expect them to go to their hurry-up offense.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. The man running their offense has the experience it takes. He's been here before. Jaworski from the shotgun. Complete downfield. That's his tight end, John Spagnola.
Well, he really has some soft hands, and he demonstrated it there, because that pass was behind him, but he turned around and put those mitts on him.
Spagnola, the Eagles' leading receiver, coming into today's ball game. Jaworski nearly intercepted. It's a good thing he put that ball up in the air, as Dave Waymer almost got another one.
It was interesting to see Ron buy a little time by scrambling out there that time. Ron, not known as a scrambler, but he wants to get the job done because he is known as a winner.
Jaworski showing some good feel for the pocket, as rather than just take off on an uncontrolled run, just danced off to the side. A couple more scores before the Eagles run a play. Let's see if we can get one in. 21-10, Indianapolis opens it up over the Bills. That's a second quarter score. It's the second quarter here, and it's 2nd and 10 for the Eagles and Jaworski. A reception. That's number 82, Mike Quick, and that'll be good for another Eagle first down.
Well, the Saints are bringing number 51, Whitney Paul, every play. And Paul is being blocked by 26 Haddix, and he's the one that's so slow getting back, and that's why the Eagles couldn't get the play off as quickly as they would have liked to.
The Eagles with still all 3 of their timeouts remaining. This time go downfield, another completion, and that's Spagnola once again, and this time Jaworski stops the clock.
A lot of fans wonder why it looks so easy when a team gets into their hurry-up offense.
I want you to explain this because no one else can. I'm anxious to hear the answer.
Okay, well, it's real simple. The reason is because the defense, which normally plays back anyway, is playing back even more. So as a result, go down 10 yards and stop, and usually you'll be open. Go 20 yards, you might have trouble. But 10 yards, you can usually get open.
How many times is it that someone's walked up to you and said, would you please tell me why in the prevent defense it doesn't seem to prevent anything?
That's an age-old question in the NFL, and I get asked that everywhere I go, Dan.
And even on our level, we don't have the answer.
There's a good shot at Teddy Marchibroda. He's the man with the short guy with the glasses and the white sweater. He's the offensive coordinator, and he was a fine head coach in Baltimore, worked with a great quarterback there in Burt Jones, and he thinks that both Randall Cunningham and Jaworski, he has two fine ones.
That he does. Ron Jaworski comes back out to the huddle, and next week it's a doubleheader Sunday.
Hey, and we're going to Seattle.
We are going to Seattle. The first game, though, around the country will be one of these three, St. Louis at Philadelphia. The Giants play the Cincinnati Bengals, and Detroit goes to RFK and plays the Redskins. Live, 12:30 Eastern, those starts. And then in the second games, as Gene said, we'll be in Seattle for that Atlanta game. These Saints go to Los Angeles to play the Raiders, and it's the 4-0 Bears today. They will be playing next weekend
against the Bears
right here on CBS. Jaworski to throw on second and short under pressure. Nearly intercepted, and there's a flag in the end zone. A flag in the end zone. Or was that thrown out of the stands? That's something that came out of the stands. Someone out of the stands.
Oh, there it is.
That's an airplane.
Well, it's yellow. Look, it's close to being a flag, but it isn't. Gee whiz. Well, anyway, looking at this replay, this number 81, Kenny Jackson, and he's running downfield, and he's just trying to use speed, which he does to get behind, but the ball slightly underthrown, and Willie Tullis, number 26, who had his eye on the ball the whole way, was frustrated because he couldn't come up with the interception.
3rd and 1. The Eagles elect to go on the ground, and they pick up the first down. Ernest Jackson. And we're going to have a timeout. The Eagles will stop the clock. That's their second timeout. The Eagles now down to no timeouts remaining. Check that. The Eagles are. Yeah, that was the last timeout for the Eagle Ball Club. So 43 seconds left on the clock. They've got the first down.
Well, those timeouts are so important at this part of the game because if you had 2 timeouts with 43 seconds, that gives you even more time with those 43 seconds because you could throw over the middle a couple of times and stop that clock. Now you're limited because you have to get the ball either to the sidelines where you can get out of bounds to stop the clock, or you have to hurry up and run a second play and throw it away. So they're going to be mindful of that. I'm sure that that's what Jaworski's being told by Ted Marchibroda, that, yeah, we have 43 seconds. We can run at least 4 more plays, but we have to be able to stop the clock after the play because we're in field goal range now, and please, let's not get out of field goal range. Let's take some points into the locker room at halftime.
And let's keep in mind what a touchdown would mean to this Eagle Ball Club. This is the 5th game of the season, and they have only put it in the end zone as an offensive team 1 time. What a boost it would be to this ball club if they could get a touchdown before halftime here in New Orleans.
And what about a boost to Ron Jaworski's confidence that had to be shaken being benched after the first game of the season?
43 seconds left. It's an Eagle first down as we wind down the first half of play. The Saints offsides. Jim Wilkes about 2 yards into the Saints backfield. Now we'll have to find out whether he was enticed.
Encroachment, 94 defense.
You know, Dan, also 1 second ticked off the clock. They had 43 seconds, and now it says 42. I wonder if they'll put that second back on, or did the Eagles just end up losing a second?
That should not have been a loss of a second for...
Yeah, they lost a second. They should be alert on that because it said 43 and the clock started, but they didn't put that second back on, and boy, that could make a difference.
The ball has been advanced to the 27-yard line. 1st and 5. Keep in mind the Eagles out of timeouts. complete across the middle to Michael Haddix.
And now this is where they have to hurry. With no timeouts remaining, they have to get that play off and either stop the clock or try to get that ball down into the end zone.
That was an Eagle first down. The Saints put on the pressure. It's complete to Haddix. Michael Haddix gets out of bounds and stops the clock. Woo. Boy, I thought initially he made a mistake by not heading for the sideline.
So did Marion Campbell.
But he picks up another Eagle first down.
Boy, talk about a gutsy move. You know, the defender knew he had to get out of bounds, and that's why he ran so fast to the sideline. And Haddix says, no, you don't. I'm cutting back. And Campbell, oh, boy, you see he's over there wondering. But they're getting close, Dan. They're down to the 7. They're knocking on the door.
Ted Marchibroda, who calls the plays for the Eagles, would love to see a touchdown here. First and goal. 7-yard line. Jaworski. Touchdown, Eagles. John Spagnola. John Spagnola comes up with the touchdown, and Ron Jaworski has done his job.
And just like that, the Eagles are back in this game. That's a big play for the Eagles because they had a chance of going into the locker room with no points, being out of this thing. Look at Jaworski. He's going to be looking up the middle for his big tight end, number 88. Here he comes. Big throw, big catch.
Right between the two New Orleans safeties, Terry Hogue and Frank Waddlet, who ended up hitting each other. And Spagnola, looking in the football, gets an Eagle touchdown. Paul McFadden on the extra point is right there. And the Eagles back in this ball game. It's now 20-7, and we're down to 10 seconds left in the first half.
Ron Jaworski put on a clinic that time. I mean, he got that ball with less than 2 minutes to go and drove them down the field. Boy, that was a big play for the Eagles.
Randall Cunningham started this game at quarterback, was ineffective. Ron Jaworski came in and
they went 66 yards.
Boy, has he moved this ball club. John Spagnola took that 7-yard pass from Jaworski on first down, and there it is. Psychologically, what a boost for the Eagles.
And Jaworski is 9 for 13, and he's already thrown for over 100 yards today. And if it wasn't for that interception, he might have had 2 touchdown passes.
It's hard to fault Ron Jaworski for that interception. That was just a superior play by Dave Waymer.
Yeah, and big John Spagnola, he's glad to get his hands on the ball, too. Some big grabs in that drive.
Well, it will be an uplifted Eagle locker room at halftime.
Can the Saints get it back up? They were on such a high cloud. It's really hard sometimes when you're up playing at such a high emotional peak to get it back up there, and that's their challenge in the second half.
Paul McFadden kicks off for the Eagles. Eric Martin at his goal line. And he doesn't have a great deal going. He doesn't even make it back to the 15. Andre Waters on the stop. And I would assume that New Orleans, with 5 seconds left with this field position, will just sit on the football and end the half.
I would think so.
Well, the Eagles have responded. Their second offensive touchdown of the year has at least narrowed this Saint lead. Dave Wilson at quarterback. Goes down, and he'll run out the clock. Well, that was the last play of the first half. Ron Jaworski heads into the locker room, and Gene, he's got to be feeling good.
Well, I think he's feeling great, and I think that whole Eagle team feels like that there was a big weight just taken off of their shoulders. And I think you'll see a different team in the second half.
Marion Campbell, I think, will have no trouble in finding some words for his team. Meanwhile, Bum Phillips has to tell his ball club that this game is very much still up for grabs in the National Football League. 13 points is not a great deal.
Yeah, well, Bum's got to be a little concerned because he had his team at such an emotional peak at the beginning of the game, and that's what enabled them to jump out to that 20-0 lead. But now it's 20-7 and 2 touchdowns, and the Saints could be losers, so they've got to be concerned going into the locker room at halftime about that emotional intensity.
And meanwhile, Randall Cunningham didn't have much of a first half.
No, he was only 2 for 7 for only 6 yards, but he threw 2 bad interceptions.
So Randall Cunningham, who started this game for the Philadelphia Eagles, has a bad ankle, had a bad start. So it was Ron Jaworski who got the call from his head coach, Marion Campbell, and he has responded. 20-7, the Saints out in front, and this crowd in New Orleans has quieted.
Yeah, they were so loud for a while I couldn't even hear myself think, but then after that touchdown it got so quiet you could hear the proverbial pin drop.
The proverbial pin. I think you're right on in that assessment of today's ball game. John Spagnuolo having quite a day as well. He has the touchdown for the Eagles that has narrowed this what was once a 20-point Saint lead. 20-7, New Orleans out front.
We're not a company, but we recognize potential. We develop it. We use it. We'll make sure that as your responsibility grows, so will you. As your ability for leadership grows, so will you. Working with us, you'll gain self-confidence. Become a person with a future. We're not a company. We're your country. We're the Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. We're the armed forces. It's a great place to start.
It's a small company. In fact, you're looking at the entire staff. But to the client, they looked as professional as the biggest competitors. Maybe that's because Team Xerox studied their documents and came up with a solution, including a Xerox memory writer for perfect letters and a new desktop Marathon copier, which gave them big features at a small price. At 9 a.m., they presented their case. By 4 p.m., they got one with a note saying, "Please thank your staff for such great work," which happily they did.
We got it!
Monday.
Make him disappear.
Lee's life is in Amanda's hands.
I just aim for the broad side of the building and hope for the best.
Then on Kate and Allie.
My raincoat needs a shave.
When Kate gets a mink, boy, does the fur fly.
In that coat, you look like Bigfoot.
And on Newhart, Stephanie is dumped by Michael.
What is the least I can do to get you back? And I mean the very least.
10.
I'll have to find him.
A desperate fugitive.
It was decorated for heroism by the city of New York.
A statewide manhunt.
He's dangerous.
Cagney and Lacey, Monday.
Well, welcome back to New York. And Irv Cross, one of the 2 unbeatens under fire down in the state of Florida right now. The Chicago Bears, they kick a field goal late in the first half. They trail the Buccaneers. The count is 12-3. You know, early on, Irv, you could tell that the Bears were flat.
Boy, I tell you, but Tampa Bay's defense is really pumped up, Brent. They felt they came into this game really rocking. They could force an upset.
But it was the Bears defense that held off a possible touchdown here. Watch Wilbur Marshall get to Steve DeBerg, takes him down. He was knocked out for a series. Alan Risher entered the game. He could not get the Buccaneers into the end zone. They kick a field goal. Now watch intentional grounding here by the Bear quarterback. No doubt about it, the Buccaneer defense all over him. But then it was DeBerg and Kevin House.
Well, yeah, House scored this touchdown, but really Jimmy Giles has been a big factor in the first half. Watch this. Inbounds, touchdown. The funny thing about that, there was a defensive back stopped at the goal line. Why didn't he go with him?
I know, and you mentioned Giles, 7 catches, 112 yards in the first half of that game. Detroit and Green Bay, the Packers are dominating the Lions right now. 20-3, they are at the half of that one. Buffalo and Indianapolis. Hank Bulla makes his coaching debut with the Bills, but the Colts have jumped all over Buffalo. It is 28-10 late in the second quarter of that one. A wild Donnybrook. Bernie Kosar forced to quarterback the Browns for a time because Gary Danielson suffered a shoulder injury. On the first snap to the youngster out of Miami, he fumbled it. They did recover, and they lead by a point at the half. Philadelphia and New Orleans. How about this? Bum Phillips. Last week, he stunned San Francisco. Yes, indeed, give me another birthday gift, and he'll take it. Dave Wilson, except for that horrendous first week, has thrown the ball very well. And here he is, going to Eugene Goodlow in the end zone, and the Saints jumped ahead by 10 points. What happened to Reggie White?
He bruised his ribs. He had a big game last week against the Giants, tipping a couple of balls and forcing some interceptions.
This is an interception for a touchdown by Johnny Poe. What about Randall Cunningham?
Well, Randall Cunningham came in this game with a sprained ankle. On that pass, you have to really drive off your leg, get some force on it, and he couldn't do it.
They had him out, and Ron Jaworski came in, and he got the Eagles on the board late in the first half, hitting John Spagnuolo. 20-7 the count there with the Saints ahead. Rematch of the AFC Championship. Steelers leading the Dolphins 17-14. They did it late on a pass from Malone to Thompson in that game. Danny Marino has gone to Dan Johnson, 2 yards for one of the Dolphin touchdowns. San Francisco and Atlanta. Joe Montana's having a big afternoon, but the 49ers have been unable to get the ball into the end zone for Bill Walsh, except on this play right here. You won't believe it. The Falcons send everybody but the sink after him. Here comes 9 guys. Roger Craig is there, and Irv, you got to tell me, what happened on this play defensively?
I hate to do this to you, but we used to call this play Sticky Sid. Everybody comes. The end man on the line must pick the first back up, but he blitzed. Wide open.
And look at that. They're all going inside, and Craig says, give it to me. Look at the wide open spaces I'm about to head for, and he's got it. Touchdown. Now, we see in this sequence, Freddie Solomon is going to take one of the hardest licks of the season. Right there, almost similar to the same spot where Ronaldo Nehemiah was hit, but fortunately we saw smiling Freddie Solomon over there on the sideline, and he was not injured seriously. And the NFL Today continues on CBS after these messages from your local stations.
CBS Sports presents college football. See Michigan take on Michigan State or UCLA against Stanford next Saturday on CBS Sports. This is CBS.
At UPS, it was never our intention to become a tourist attraction. But every year, scores of efficiency-minded Japanese businessmen show up and ask to tour our facilities. You see, UPS is so efficient, we can deliver next-day air usually for half what other companies charge. Which is why so many Japanese find UPS the most rewarding package tour anywhere. UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business. Action. Excitement. Suspense. Thrills. Daring. Danger. And that's only the beginning. Now, there's a new name in high adventure. Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. Not bad. Rated PG.
Starts Friday, Sam Eric 4, 1908 Chestnut Street and surrounding first-run theaters.
We all know we should find time to relax a little every day. What we need is an easy way to relax. Well, how about this one? With Easy 101, you can relax right where you are, no matter what you're doing. So when it's important for you to relax, listen to your favorite songs in a uniquely relaxing way on Easy 101. The place to relax every day.
Rock Hudson in Showdown, today at 4:30.
Welcome back to our studios in New York. You know, all too often we lose track of football players after they leave the game. But Danny Villanueva, that spunky little punter and place kicker for the Rams and Cowboys in the 60s, recently came to our attention because of his efforts in a campaign that has nothing at all to do with the sport. And this week we sent Gary Paul Gates out to Los Angeles to look into that story.
Danny Villanueva played for 8 years in the NFL, but to perform on that level, he had to overcome several obstacles.
I got as much as I could out of my God-given abilities and my limitations of size. I was a short, fat, slow Mexican-American.
That determination to succeed against the odds has carried over to Danny's work after football. For the past 17 years, his professional life has been here at KMEX-TV, where he is now president and station manager. This Spanish-language station is the voice of Southern California's large Hispanic community. And one day last month, that voice broadcast a report that touched Mexican-Americans in a special way.
The Mexican capital lived through some dramatic moments today as a result of a strong earthquake.
It soon became clear that Mexico had been hit by a disaster of epic proportions. At least 5,500 dead, another 10,000 injured, and thousands of buildings destroyed or severely damaged.
My first reaction was I uttered something religious, and I said, we have to move as fast as we can. Let's get all the help we can. And my reaction was one of action.
So Danny mobilized his staff into action and launched a fundraising drive to help the victims. Several Hollywood celebrities joined in the effort, which came to a climax with a telethon that raised more than $5 million in record time.
A young man from one of the networks told me, he said, Danny, you've taken broadcasting to another level. You were not only part of the news, because we were giving the first feeds to all the people in the United States and networks, but now you're part of the solution.
Even after the telethon, Villanueva continued the relief campaign. And two current kickers in the NFL, Tony Zendejas of Houston and Raul Alegre of the Colts, are donating to the cause.
I feel a moral obligation to do it. And even though it's little as it is, it might be of help.
Football in college, even in pro, is simply a means to an end. It gives us a wonderful opportunity, but it carries with it an incredible obligation that we have to a lot of people who look up to professional athletes.
Football is often described as a war, a life and death struggle, but that is just part of the hype. Football is a game that kids play after school, and highly skilled men play on autumn afternoons for our entertainment. Men like Danny Villanueva understand the difference between that and real life and death struggles. And they also understand that even in the midst of such a tragedy, one can find salvation and hope for the future.
We're resilient people, and over the years we've known a lot of hard times, and we'll survive this one too.
For the NFL Today, I'm Gary Paul Gates.
Oh, what a marvelous thing that is that Danny accomplished out there in Los Angeles. I know that he was a former teammate of yours.
Yeah, I remember Danny as a kickoff man who kicked the ball short down the 10 or 20-yard line. And in those days, you had a point man from the offensive team coming after the kicker. Danny oftentimes wasn't too anxious to go down there.
All right. Let's send you back to the stadium now and the game you're enjoying on CBS.
We're back at the Superdome in Louisiana, where the Saints have a big 20-7 lead over the Eagles. And I'm Dan Dierdorf and Gene Fugit. How about if we get right to the halftime highlights? It was all New Orleans here in the first half. How about if we roll some tape and take a look at what happened?
Yeah, that first touchdown was quite a play. Here you see the safety, Ellis, he's back in the middle, but he got faked out a little bit, and that allowed Eugene Goodlow to get behind him to make a big touchdown catch to get the Saints on the board early.
It was an Anderson field goal that got them out in front 13-0, but then Johnny Poe makes the big interception to make it 20-0.
Well, Cunningham looked left the whole time, and Greg Garrity and he couldn't get it together. Number 25, Johnny Poe, comes in and makes a big interception. Now, usually when a defensive back makes an interception, Dan, he can't wait to spike the ball. I mean, spiking the ball is so much fun, and there's Johnny Poe, but he's too cool.
Well, Ron Jaworski then replaced Randall Cunningham. He drove them down the field, but a tremendous interception by Dave Waymer.
Well, the Saints had the blitz on. Jaworski called the audible, and Waymer didn't even see the ball, number 44, but he put his arm in there, and he came up with it. That was another big play for the Saints.
And then Ron Jaworski gets the Eagles on the board. He finds his tight end.
Well, it's only the second touchdown that the Eagles have scored on offense all season, and number 88, John Spagnola, knows how to get open in that end zone, and boy, you can see the relief. It's like a big weight went off their shoulders.
Well, both teams are back out on the field. We're getting ready for the start of the second half. Philadelphia is going to try to get back in this ball game. They're down by 13.
Mr. Secretary, are you saying no further cuts can be made?
That is correct, Senator.
I see here enormous expenditures on Meistercraft.
Our boys deserve an expensive beer, sir.
My committee informs me it's not expensive, just tastes expensive.
Actually, that's under my assistant, Mr. Macklin.
Well, what's he doing with the money he's supposed to spend on beer?
Oh, Mac, it's a darling little boat.
Rich, smooth Meisterbrow. It only tastes expensive.
In the beginning, man's feet walked free. But the road to civilization was paved, so man developed shoes. Soon after that, man developed athlete's foot.
Egad.
Today, there's Mycotin. Mycotin cures athlete's foot. It's the only athlete's foot medicine you can buy with Myconazole, a patented ingredient recommended by specialists to cure athlete's foot. Mycotin in spray, powder, or cream. Mycotin, the end of the road for athlete's foot.